Ladies and gentlemen, this is my utmost pleasure to introduce the most dynamic duo of chairpersons for today's conference. Our first chairperson for today is Mr. Golok Kumar Simli, CTO and Principal Advisor, Ministry of External Affairs. Can we give them a huge round of applause, everybody? Can we welcome them with a huge round of applause?
Very good morning to all of you. And let me at the outset thanks Jain Skill Business Media Private Limited, Ms. Joya and team, and the organizer for having me here. Today we'll speak about how the digital transformation looks like, what all we are doing in government, especially when it comes to government, public sector, how are we collaborating with industry, and how are we taking the digital transformation journey further. To my mind, when we talk about digital transformation, it is for a greater cause. And when I say it is for a greater cause, can we make our society a little better place to live? Can we empower whether you and me or masses at large, citizens at large? And when I say empowerment, when I say inclusiveness, when I say a better place to live for the society at large, I think the concept of digital transformation, the concept of this journey should be how do we bridge those gaps? How do we bridge those barriers in terms of socioeconomic conditions, in terms of literacy and illiteracy, in terms of rural and urban, no? We have a lot of divide. In terms of demography and geography, how do we bridge those barriers, right? And when we are doing that, the another very important factor we discuss, we work in the government is the two most important factors. You deal at a population scales. I'm talking about more than 1.4 billion of people in the country. And when I'm talking about these masses, I'm also talking and kind of all of us, whether I come from government, you come from industry, someone like Joya come from media houses. The idea is, can we follow that democratization process? For me, it is the most important factor. How do you follow that democratization process? Having equal access to all. Let me quote some examples so that we can connect. Right? So, when we were doing this digital transformation journey in India, some of the messy platform today we have created, whether it is Aadhaar, whether it is UPI, whether it is GSTN, whether it is passport, I can name plethora of this, right? I can name plethora of this. But see the sheer volume we are dealing. I'm talking about a Aadhaar platform where more than 135 crore people have been given Aadhaar, right? And what is the benefit of Aadhaar? I can just name one example saying that the DBT scheme we all have heard about, right? Direct benefit transfer. The DBT scheme alone, I could save almost worth more than rupees 2 lakh crore, the leakage. Imagine this kind of platform, what wonder we are doing, right? I can give another example of UPI. UPI is a platform, right? Every month, last 3-4 months, we are realizing doing more than 1.6 lakh crore of kind of transactions. More than 14 trillion of transaction in worth per month, rupees 14 trillion. And what is the volume of transactions? It's on an average 8.5 billion transactions. Imagine the platform we are talking about. The GST collection I was talking about. Every month we are collecting a GST of more than 1.6 lakh crore rupees. Now how do we have done this? How do we could have even imagined all the passport services? I was talking about demography, geography, dividing between, how do you bridge those urban, rural gaps? Today, I can vouch, and you all can vouch for me, saying that when I'm issuing a passport services, whether you apply from Delhi, Mumbai or Chennai, or a person standing at a remotest part of the country, whether it is Jharkhand, Bihar or UP, I absolutely make no difference. and I can vouch for that, right? And how is it possible? Why is it happening, and how are we making it possible? I can give another example. You all have heard about account aggregator, which RBI has recently introduced, Reserve Bank of India, in 2016, where we have authorized the NBFCs as a agency to work as an account aggregator. And what is the beauty of this account aggregator, by the way? You as a financial information user and somebody as a financial information provider, right? How do you make an open banking concept true for all of us? You are seeking a lot of information, right? But how do you take that digital consent, electronic consent, right at the user end, before even you share your financial information, as a seeker and also as a provider? And for that, this account aggregator platform, believe me, it will do a wonder for the entire banking system. And that is the concept probably we are also trying to introduce. Let's say, for an example, I give another example of passport or Aadhaar. You assume that you are applying for a passport services, and the reason for applying, suppose you are applying for a reissue of passport, and you are changing your address. You do that, right? Many times you do that. Now, if I can ask you, hey gentlemen, you are asking for a change of address in passport, would you also like to change your address in Aadhaar, PAN card, voter card, this card, that card? Why can't I do that? Why do you as a citizen or I as a provider, every time I ask you, go to PAN card, go to voter card, go to passport, go to Aadhaar, just for the sake of changing the address, right? And this is another concept of account aggregator which we are working within the government ecosystem, right? In terms of data exchange, in terms of data veracity and validity, in terms of data strategy. When you do that, what is your data strategy at large? I always say that you must have a data strategy in place when you do that, right? Without violating the data protection, the data security and data privacy concept of the user, or which I say principal owner of the data. And when you do that, I think the another very important area we all need to remember is the compliances, the regulations, the land of the law, law of the land, right? Because ultimately, whether you or me, it's my data, right? It's your data. It's none of other business. And if I am doing that, whether you are with me or not, whether you understand, you have that visibility or not, what I am doing with your data. And that kind of another strategy we are developing within the government when we are sharing, transferring, or even using your data. And the concept is all of us, especially for the industry at large, the idea is when you either share, transfer, or let's say validate, or some kind of anything you are doing, how do you ensure that the data in all form, whether it is in rest, whether it is in transit, or whether it is in use, in all form, can you give me that kind of a safeguard? I think our colleague from Wonderboard is here, right? Can you give me as a provider, right? At the end, I must say that I think going forward, what we are all looking, in terms of digital transformation journey is the three things. Can we innovate more and more? Can we do a intelligence collaboration among all of us, right? And can we, kind of when we are talking about digital transformation, it is not about you and me alone. It is at a population scale. Can we do that? Whether I create a product or a portfolio, whether I deliver a citizen service, or whether I create a new business opportunity, or let's say employment generation, in all sense, can I do at a population scale? And that is our concern. When we talk in the government, our concern is about a population scale, at a larger scale, at mass scale, without, as I say, differentiating between demography, geography, economic condition, literacy, illiteracy, rural and urban divide. If we are able to do that, I think in my view, we are at a good positions, and whatever you do, the inner satisfaction what you get, whether you are from private side, I from government side, that is the biggest part. If we can add that value, if we can add that kind of a impact, and you can add that kind of a, I'll say, value to the digital economy or to the overall economy at large. So thank you. My time is over. I think this is what I want to give the message. So thank you. Thank you once again.